And that was Slow by Chain Gang of 1974 here on In the Pit, Penn's Peak Radio. It is Kara in the studio with you this evening. And all this month, I've been featuring albums of the summer. And another one is going to be dropping tomorrow. Felt by Chain Gang of 1974 will be released. And I'm lucky enough to have the man himself, Kamteen, on the phone with me this evening. How are you doing tonight?
So good. And he pronounced my name properly. That was amazing.
Hey, that's what I was worried about.
You properly pronounced it. Everyone either says Cam or Camton or Camteen, and you said Kamteen. You did it. That's pretty rad.
Okay, interview done. I did it.
Interview done. Success.
But thank you so much for taking some time out of your day, literally a few hours before the release of this new album. Where is your head at right now?
I think it's in a state of probably relief, only because it's taken so long for this body of work to kind of see the light of day. So I'm just happy that it's like no longer going to belong to me. It's going to belong to the public, and like it's just out in the universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I started writing this record in 2015. Probably did about a year of writing and demoing. Because if you look back on my Instagram history, in September of 2015 was when I went into the studio to start recording it. So it's been a long, long, long time coming. And it's a bummer. Sometimes that's just how the music industry works, and it takes a while. And there were reasons why it took a long time for it to come out. But, you know, everything happens for a reason, and I just got to just understand that the universe wanted to come out in a few hours. So here we are. But I'm just happy. I'm happy it's going to be out there, and everyone else's, and no longer mine.
Yeah, but I mean, sitting with it for a while, are you still happy with it from the day that you said, okay, it's ready to be finalized?
Yes, but that took time.
Okay.
You know, I'm the kind of person that when I create something, let's say I create a song, I sit with that song and I'll listen to it over and over and over and over again, with the hopes of like, okay, well, you know what, this song could add this. Oh, you know what, I shouldn't do this, I should do that. So it's kind of editing in a way. But I think when you kind of sit with a finished product for a while, you have the moments of like, I'll go, you know, this is fantastic, and then 2 weeks later, I'll listen back, I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I can't stand this. Why am I doing this? Usually when I hit that point, I pretty much swear it off and just let it go. So I did that because I had it done for so long. But recently, maybe 2 weeks ago, I was driving at night down to like Santa Monica area, and I was like, I'm going to revisit this record. I'm getting closer to the release. I just want to see how I feel about it. And it was a very special moment of me truly loving it and really being proud of these songs and understanding and realizing what I did, and I couldn't be happier. So currently, I love it. I do love it right now. So I think that's good, the fact that I'm happy about this body of work closer to the release date, as opposed to being bummed out about it.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear from like a fan's point of view, because sometimes, you do hear the artist being like, okay, just here, take it. We're done with it. Just take it, you know, but for you to still sit here and be like, hey, I love it. And, you know, you're excited for people to hear it because you still love it. That is something that's so awesome and unique. And I am very happy to hear that. And I know the fans are too.
Amazing. I love your enthusiasm.
Yeah. So
fantastic.
What was your vibe that you wanted to portray for this album?
You know, I think especially coming off and I know you're a fan of the Maine, who are good friends of mine, and they also had a failed relationship with Warner Brothers. So this album was me coming off and out of a deal with Warner, who it just wasn't a good relationship. Yeah, long story short, it just didn't work. So I was fortunate enough, unlike a lot of artists who aren't able to get out of a record deal, I was able to get out of my deal with them, which is a reason why it did take so long for Felt to come out, because we had to find a right home for it. The record was kind of created on my own along with Tom Powers from Naked and Famous. So we kind of like did it in a way DIY, but we finally found a new home for it. And that's kind of, I mean, again, I'm kind of going off on something, but that's one of the reasons why it took a while for it to come out. But I think for me, in between Daydream Forever and the time where I started to write for this record, I was so kind of just left with a bad taste in my mouth towards, I think, just Chain Gang as a whole because of my experience. So I want to kind of branch off and do other things. Mm-hmm. I started a new band called Teenage Wrist, and, you know, that kind of like got a side of me out that I needed to get out. I started doing external writing for other artists, you know, writing songs. I had songs for Dylan Francis, Jai Wolf, 303, Luna Shadows, Silent Film, like just a bunch of, I was doing a lot of pop writing, which I think kind of trained my skill a bit more, and I started to learn more about songwriting, and I started to realize that I can't and shouldn't be afraid of pop, because there is a way to kind of stamp that X factor on pop writing. I also did commercial work, you know, writing songs for commercials. Like I wrote a song for a Maybelline commercial. Like I just did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I think to kind of free my mind from the anxiety and the, dare I say, pain and suffering that Chain Gang has brought upon me during those, you know, few years of realizing I made a body of work that should have gotten more recognition, but because of the way the people in charge handled it, it just didn't. So that's always kind of a tough pill to swallow. But fortunately, I did have those releases, and I then found myself writing for this record and knowing that I wanted to kind of build something a little bigger, build something a bit more polished, and maybe, dare I say, I went into it thinking, like, you know, this could be the last time I ever make music under this moniker. Like, if this is the last Chain Gang record, then let it be something that I think is like what it should be after 10 years of being in a band. So I'm not saying it's the last one, but if it is the last one, then I'm proud of it. And I think it's from 10 years ago to now, it's like the most beautiful progression I could have ever imagined.
I mean, from, again, a fan, it's been fun to watch you along the way, from seeing how you're progressing, like you said, with everything. And you were talking about pop music, and I think today with genres, everything's blurring the lines. I mean, I'll be honest, as a teenager, I would say I would listen to everything, but you know, that wasn't really what was happening. So to branch out, like you said, and not be scared to play that pop chord, say, how did you use that then writing this album for Felt?
Well, I mean, Tom, you know, he has seen a large amount of success with the Naked and Famous, and they have found a way to kind of make these songs that pull in a large amount of people, and have made, you know, those like indie pop anthems, but have also put an edge to it. There's always an edge to the way he writes and the way he produces, and he was able to kind of put that on me as I wrote this record. And I've done my last two records with Ice and Innes from Fought to the People, and we had a very different way of writing our like Chain Gang songs as opposed to the way Tom and I did it. Ice and I would get in a room with no ideas for 4 weeks straight and just create something. Okay. Tom was like, listen, this is your record. In the most respectful way, he said, like, I don't have time to just sit here in a room and, like, create with you. Like, you need to come to me with these ideas, with these solid ideas. Mm-hmm. You got to be home just sitting on your couch writing and presenting these songs to me. So I did, and that's kind of how it worked. And it was either like, hey, I'm not really sure how I feel about this one, or he'd be like, this is great. Let's build. So he would grab a guitar, I'd get on the drum set, like we just kind of start kind of turning it from that. And he also kind of trained me to not be afraid of pop. I owe that to him. There were a lot of times where I'm like, well, you know, my voice sounds a little too emo here, or like, I don't know about this kind of sounds just a bit too cheesy. And he kind of would like slap me in the face, just be like, dude, relax. Like, this sounds great. Mm-hmm. You are just too in your head about it. You need to just be a bit more disattached from it all. And once I was able to do that, I think the best work came out. And you can hear it in the record. You can hear it is focused more on melody. My vocals are way more upfront and clear as opposed to the way they were on Daydream Forever, which was, like, in my opinion, an extremely experimental record. So I think it's a true form of growth and progression, which in many of my interviews I bring up and I discuss, because I'm a strong believer in progression. And I think once that ends and once you're able to not really move forward anymore, that's kind of time to hang it up. So I fortunately have believed in myself and the constant progression that this band has had, which is why I'm, I guess, still here 10 years later doing this.
Yeah. And I love that you bring that up. I was actually going to ask you about that. I mean, for people, if you don't have stepping stones, you kind of just become stagnant with their life. And the fact that you're still going to it, yes, 10 years later, but you're still driving towards something, whether that be music, with Chain Gang, or anything that you're doing, I think that's props to you for just sticking to something and keeping it up.
Thank you. I think with growing and maturing, it helps as well when, Chain Gang is no longer my only thing. It's no longer my priority. It's a priority in my life, but it's not my only priority. So I think from that kind of goes hand in hand with disattaching yourself just a bit in the most, healthy way. But yeah, anyways, ending it with that, go on.
No problem. I enjoy listening to how artists put things together and what's going through their head. So this is, whatever you have to say, it's great for me.
Cool.
So why Felt? Why did you name it Felt?
I kind of had one specific subject matter throughout Wayward Fire and Daydream Forever, and it was about a specific person. And this time around, I kind of finally found myself not writing about her, which was a fantastic step forward in my life. And I found myself writing about a new girl, but a lot of it was she was out of my life already by the time I started writing this record. We were not speaking, and I haven't spoken to her since, and that's that. So a lot of this record kind of has to do with past feelings, and it does touch on a lot of things. It touches on my relationship with Warner Brothers, which is what I wrote Slow about. It touches on, my relationship with this person, which is songs like I Still Wonder and Forget. And it also talks about there are a lot of kind of past feelings. It talks about addiction for the people that I've experienced. And that's a song, it needs you. And it kind of just a wide range of emotional, I guess, subject matter, but it's all kind of in the past and all these memories that I have of it. So it's the past tense of feeling, you know what I mean? And felt worked. I think I needed something simple. I needed something straightforward, and somehow worked really, really well with the body of work, and that's it.
Do you feel yourself, when you were saying that, do you feel yourself almost wiping a slate clean when you're done with a record and you have all these now emotions out? It's okay, I can start over now?
Yes and no.
Okay.
When you do that, when you create a song and it's out in the public, it's a permanent reminder. You know what I mean? It's there. So there are moments, if I listen back on a song and listen to the subject matter and, it gets me thinking of someone, it gets me thinking of something, and sometimes it's not the best. I do find beauty in heartbreak. I do find beauty in pain and nostalgia. I think there's something cinematic about all of it, and I think that if you are able to put a soundtrack to a memory, there's nothing more beautiful than that. And that, I think, is the way I've wanted to always make music. As I'm writing music, and I'm currently writing and recording the Teenage Wrist album right now, and I feel like my band members get annoyed with me because I'll stop a song in the middle of all of us playing it and be like, "Hey guys," and just get excited and kind of just give it an imagery of what the song kind of feels to me. I'm like, man, that part just sounds like a confetti cannon going off into the end. They're all just looking at me like, dude, can we just play the song? Why do you have to make everything kind of this cinematic thing? But I think that's just kind of how my brain works and how my vision works with creating. And I've always wanted that. I've always wanted to create a mood, I think, with what I make. And I mean, maybe that's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it's a curse. I don't know, but that's just how I'd like to do it, I guess.
Well, we like listening to it, that's for sure. So you're doing something right.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, so we've heard some of the songs now from the album, and they're immediate repeats. You just want to listen to them over and over. And you've also been releasing some lyrics from the songs from the record on your social media. Now, out of the rest of the album that we haven't heard yet, is there a certain song that stands out to you that you just can't wait for people to hear?
I think Forget. It's the song I did with Elisa from the Naked and Famous. And so Peter Gabriel's So was, I think, the biggest influence on me for this record. I was listening to a lot of Peter Gabriel, and I kind of wanted that duet vibe that he had. He has that song with Kate Bush, and I wanted something like that. I wanted kind of this epic, triumphant duet, and of course, there was no better person than Elisa. She's a good friend of mine, and I had Jesse from Naked and Famous play drums on the record. Tom produced it and played most of the guitar. So I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Why not have Elisa do this? So we brought her in, and it was just this instant, tearjerker. And I think when people hear that song, they're going to be like, wow. It's just a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. It's sad. It's kind. It's tender. just the way I like it. But and I think the message is extremely universal, and I think everyone can relate to it. And I think it's, the chorus just says, "Why do I keep forgetting to forget you?" So it just makes sense, I think, to a lot of people, and I look forward to them hearing it. Her voice is unreal on the song. Like her voice will literally give you chills. Like at the end of the song, when her voice comes in and she just belts it, you will get chills. And if you don't, there's something wrong with you.
Are you telling me I'm going to cry after this song?
You might cry. I've definitely gotten emotional before. The first time I listened back to that song, I definitely got emotional.
God.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't.
That's awesome. We've been talking about it. How can people get this album? Because they need to get it.
Yeah, I mean, you need to adapt, I think, to the times, and we're kind of focusing on what is I guess, in demand. It'll be out there, obviously, every single digital platform. Mm-hmm. We're doing a vinyl release. We're getting close to announcing a limited cassette release, but we won't be doing any CDs. Like, I don't even know how much touring I'm going to really do behind the record. That's kind of like up in the air. I just don't know yet. Mm-hmm. I kind of just want this record to be yours. I just want it to be to the people. It's yours. Take it. Illegally download it if you want. I don't really care. Just have it. But it's there. It'll be everywhere.
Felt, guys, comes out tomorrow. Chain Gang of 1974. This album, I feel like if anyone can take away something for it, it's just feeling music. That's the way I'm getting it from you, just to be in the moment with the music. How would you describe it, the album, for people to listen?
You nailed it.
Oh.
You nailed it. Find your moment. Find your moment with it. Let it be a soundtrack to a moment. I think that's the best way to listen. I think that's the best way to listen to music in general. Mm-hmm. I think that's the best way to listen to this album. It's find a moment for yourself. Whether you're driving on the highway as the sun is setting, or you have to get up early for work and the sun is rising, or you're sad with a glass of wine sitting outside by yourself smoking a cigarette and you need something for your ears. Just do whatever you want with it, but give yourself a visual. I think it's important.
I love it. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be out in a few hours, guys. You got to check this out. Kamti, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I'm excited for the future for you, if this band, for Chain Gang, for Teenage, for everything that you do. We're excited to watch you grow in front of us.
Thank you so much for your kindness. I enjoyed this.
Yeah. We're actually going to be ending it with another single from Felt, Wallflowers. If you could introduce this song for us, and we'll end things out.
Yeah. This is Wallflowers off the album Felt, which you can have in just a few hours. Enjoy it, and I love you.